Si comes tienes que lavar tu plato, Firulais. Anda, enjuágalo bien. No me gruñas. A ver, con la esponja eso. Y enjuaga bien que luego deja todo jabonoso. Eso así, muy bien, aunque de malas.
Welcome to the motherfucking lady. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. Patty Donovan calls for Lewis Crocker trilogy after career best win over Karen Chukadzian. It was far from plain sailing. He and the team collectively would have had a fright upon hearing the scorecards being announced, aware Karen Chukadzian was coming on strong in the final few rounds as the Limerick man tired. Nonetheless, he's back in the winner's column after being second best in an unpredictable two-fight series with Lewis Crocker, who won the vacant IBF title during their competitive rematch last September in Windsor Park. The first meeting was one-sided in Donovan's favor before being disqualified after 8 rounds for hitting his compatriot after the bell had sounded, and now Crocker heads to Brisbane, Australia, before an intriguing first title defense against former 140-pound champion Liam Paro next month. Chukadzian is very tough. He's got great heart and engine, just kept coming forward, and I had to show a bit of everything. Maturity, boxing skill, punching power, fighting on the inside, boxing on the outside, under pressure, coming to Germany. It shows a complete fighter, and I think that's my best win to date, he told Boxing Scene. His trainer, Andy Ree, deemed it the greatest win for many of his fighters during his coaching career to date, and the 27-year-old wants to keep the ball rolling after illness ruled him out of a proposed final eliminator with Liam Paro on January 16th. This means so much to me, Andy Ree said. Chukadzian is a world-class fighter. Don't be under any illusions and think that he's not. He is. So to land in Germany and fight a home fighter is a tough ask alone. After hearing promoter Eddie Hearn talk effusively about the stack of stateside names awaiting fight news in his division, he stressed a willingness to fight all comers and wouldn't mind another away day. The one he really wants the most, though, is far closer to home, and he'll be willing Crocker on for a chance to settle their rivalry later this year. The welterweight division and the titles themselves will remain divided into 2 separate sections. On one side, you'll have the cool kids. You'll have Ryan and Rowley and Devin. We're gonna try to do a round robin amongst themselves, just facing each other. I don't think it's the intention of any of them to become this division's undisputed champion, whereas the IBF title will remain apart. On the other side, in a very general sense, the IBF title is the least sought-after title of the 4, mostly because of the IBF's rehydration cap. And what is their second-day weigh-in the morning of a fight? Most fighters don't want to have to subject themselves to that, which is why so often in the IBF's ranks, a lot of the names aren't familiar. That's why. So Patty Donovan is staying the course and staying the IBF route. His trainer, Andy Lee, says, of course, this is the biggest fight in Irish boxing history. It's demanded by the Irish fans, and everybody in the land of Ireland wants to see this for the 3rd time. Provided that Lewis Crocker can make it there. Unfortunately for them, I don't think he's going to. He's flying down to Australia to defend his title against former champion Liam Paro, and I anticipate Liam is going to beat him. The IBF title is going to change hands. At which point, Patty Donovan will have to challenge Liam Paro for the red and gold title. Liam Paro, who's already been a champion at 140 pounds, now he aspires to do it again at 147, and I think he's going to. I think there's a good chance he wins the Crocker fight. At which point, Patty Donovan is going to have to challenge him. The good news for Patty is, I give him reasonable odds to beat Liam Paro. I believe Patty Donovan, who is best described as a pure boxer, a mover, a jabber, a counterpuncher, not an artillery fighter. I believe that Patty Donovan can beat Liam Paro in similar fashion to how Richardson Hitchens beat Liam Paro. Box him up the same way that Hitchens did, because he, like Hitchens, is a pure boxer, and I believe that that will be the story of the IBF title for the remainder of the calendar year. The guys with the other belts are gonna do other things, and the IBF title will be contested between these 3 boys. Patty Donovan's last fight was not on a Matchroom show. Lewis Crocker's next fight, that's not a Matchroom show either, but they are still connected with that promotion. Still affiliated. Separately, There is something to be said about how Karen Chukadzian looked this past Friday. Being honest with you, I thought he was going to beat Patty Donovan. The guy who made Boots look human on more than one occasion, I thought would be too much for Patty, who was coming off his heartbreaking loss in the rematch to Lewis Crocker.
Now, we could chalk it up to styles making fights because Patty Donovan does present a different style to Karen than Boots did.
But I saw the fight, and I felt like Karen looks flat and ineffective out there against Patty Donovan. Didn't seem as sharp, didn't seem as switched on as he did when he was fighting Boots.
It's not my intention to diminish Patty Donovan's win on the road because it is a very big win for him. In a fight, I didn't think he was going to win, so credit to him. But Karen looked flat.
And that is just me being honest. It's either Karen isn't as good as we thought he was, or Boots isn't as good as we think he is.
Or maybe Patty Donovan's better than I gave him credit for.
Either way, Karen looked bang average opposite the ring Patty Donovan this past Friday, and now Patty is back in the winner's bracket and back in a position to do big things in the not-so-distant future.
In the UK that they need an ass whooping.
September 12th.
Oh, actually, you just talked about the UK? The guy I might fight next is from the UK.
Yo, so 21, walk out your home country, I'll walk out my home country, and fucking we'll run that shit. Yeah, we should do that.
It's going to be in Vegas.
Oh, in Vegas?
So Ryan Garcia kind of gave it away, boxing's worst-kept secret, that his next fight might very well be Conor Benn, as he is super honored to be on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon.
He was on recording artist Tekashi 69's live stream.
And he sort of gave it away, this big announcement that he's set to be making on the Jimmy Fallon Show, saying it will only elevate boxing, and I'm happy I'm in the position. It will be super fun. It's sort of bizarre.
Ryan Garcia being as controversial as he is, as well as Conor Benn, both of which have tested positive for banned substances.
Both of which are getting opportunities they don't really deserve to earn money, not by merit of their boxing acumen and boxing skills, but by virtue of their popularity. Conor Benn, because of his more famous father, his surname, and being a Nepo baby, and Ryan, because a lot of people follow him on Instagram. Let's be honest. That's what opened all the doors for Ryan.
It's not about how good a boxer he is.
That same Ryan Garcia, with those same boxing skills, without all of the followers that he has, without that to push him, would not get the same opportunities. So what does it say about the sport of boxing as a sport and as an industry that two fighters like this are now being allowed to make as much money as they're making? The story is the fight between them will not land on DAZN. It's going to be on Netflix.
Boxing's worst kept secret.
Looks like Ryan Garcia is set to announce that fight and make it official on the Jimmy Fallon Show. You don't often see pugilists on late-night TV shows as much as you used to, but at the same time, late-night TV shows aren't what they used to be.
Yeah, they're sort of dying out. There is a cultural shift. How Americans and the younger generation entertains itself is not limited to conventional TV programming. It now has the internet and TikTok, apps, live streams to compete with. So these late-night TV shows don't garner the same size audience that they used to, like back in the days of Conan O'Brien and Jay Leno, David Letterman.
Now these days, your Jimmy Kimmel and your Jimmy Fallon, they're still mainstream.
Those are still big programs, just not as big as their predecessors and not having the same influence and cultural weight of their predecessors.
Still is somewhat of a big deal for a pugilist like Ryan to make an appearance on that show, because usually folks that appear on those shows are very famous actors and singers and mainstream acts.
Attractions.
Whoever is managing Ryan Garcia's boxing career, you have to say they're doing a good job, because he does a stream with a very popular recording artist in Tekashi 69. Now he's doing a more mainstream show like Jimmy Fallon, so they're getting him out there, they're keeping him relevant.
He's far from the best boxer in the world, in his division and in the sport. He's miles away from those things, but he is popular.
Now, we'll see how he handles himself on the Jimmy Fallon Show, because many boxers aren't actually all that eloquent or well-versed. Many of them don't have sparkling personalities. So aside from making the announcement for the Conor Benn fight, I don't know exactly what Ryan and Jimmy are going to be talking about. Hopefully it's not too awkward.
Sometimes it is.
Because this new generation of boxers doesn't carry the same charisma of their predecessors. You know, watching a Mike Tyson and a Muhammad Ali and a Sugar Ray Leonard on the Arsenio Hall show,
They didn't just know how to fight. They knew how to talk, they knew how to carry themselves, they knew how to captivate people's imaginations, which you don't often see from today's American boxer. Now, one could argue that what Ryan Garcia lacks in boxing skill and conventional wisdom, he does make up for in charisma. He is a compelling character in the sport.
And that is whether you like him or not, which does lend itself to his overall profile and marketability.
I mean, that's how he finds himself in these positions, not being the best boxer in his division. Far from the best boxer in the world. You'd never know it from the opportunities that he gets.
Would seem that Oscar De La Hoya is doing the right thing, what's right for business, by allowing Ryan Garcia to fight Conor Benn if that fight is made official, because I maintain it's free money. It's free money for what is a very beatable opponent. Ryan.
He can beat Conor Benn, especially with Conor Benn dropping down in weight, having not fought as a welterweight in something like 3 or 4 years. He's going to be depleted. He's going to be weight drained, and I don't think it'll take much from Ryan to hurt him.
And if the story is how it's been presented, that it's going to be on Netflix, that only seems to want the biggest of the big fights on their platform, it's tantamount to free money for Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy, allowing your fighter to fight on a show that size, not having to put any of the money up yourself, but instead just sitting back and getting your cut, because Ryan is still your fighter.
It would have to be a co-promotion between Oscar De La Hoya and Dana White, who are not the best of friends, but as stated, for Oscar, it's the smartest move you can make. Don't let personal feelings about Dana get in the way of a big check.
Separately, a fight between Conor Benn and Ryan Garcia that would require Oscar and Dana to work with each other to some capacity also addresses the ongoing situation between Jai Opetaia and David Benavidez on the premise that there is a prevalent narrative being put out there that because Jai signed to Zuffa, he's effectively alienated himself from fighting for the other titles and fighting the other champions.
Bitch!
None of which is true, but the narrative is still being put out there, a narrative that would fall by the wayside immediately following an official announcement of a Ryan Garcia versus Conor Benn fight, because Conor Benn, like Jai Opetaia, just signed to Zuffa. So if Conor, who signed to Zuffa, can now fight for the green and gold title...
If Conor can fight for a title having signed to Zuffa, why can't Jai fight for a title having signed to Zuffa? Why can't Jai fight David Benavidez?
He can.
Unless it's just that David and his team don't want him to. Currently, there's a preliminary story out there that says Jai Opetaia could be boxing for the green and gold title in his very next fight against the WBC champion Noel Mikhailian as soon as August. That's another fight that would kill that narrative. If Noel Mikhailian is willing to put up his green and gold title against Jai, why shouldn't David do the same thing? Jai is still lineal and Ring Magazine champion after all. Has that all of a sudden lost its meaning for this contemporary age of boxing fans? Ryan looks to be fighting Conor, and I'm pretty sure that Ryan isn't signing to Zuffa. He's not boxing for a Zuffa belt, so how could that be the excuse for David not to fight Jai? A lot of it really just boils down to common sense. It's common sense that a fighter who just moved up to cruiser isn't then gonna move back down to light heavy, yo-yoing in weight.
I don't expect David Benavidez to do that, shifting the focus. David wants a September return in Vegas. The newly crowned WBA, WBO Cruiserweight champion contended after knocking out Zurdo Ramirez that his potential opponents need to come to fight him in the United States, preferably at the T-Mobile Arena. The unbeaten Benavidez is an emerging gate attraction in the U.S. and has drawn large crowds, though not sellouts, twice to the Las Vegas venue reserved for boxing's biggest stars since it opened in 2016. PBC didn't announce an attendance figure for the card, headlined by Benavidez's destruction of Zurdo.
Yeah, gee, I wonder why.
Though Benavidez made it clear afterwards that he intends to fight on the next Mexican-themed boxing weekend in Vegas because Canelo will face WBC super middleweight champion Christian Mabili September 12th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I think it's in the best interests for my career to keep trying to fight May 5th and September 14th, Benavidez said after headlining on Cinco de Mayo weekend for the first time. Canelo's over there in Saudi, so he leaves it wide open for me. This is a great date. We put on a great show for the people, and I've earned it.
There's not going to be room for a David Benavidez fight if Canelo's boxing in the afternoon and Ryan is taking over the evening.
I've been a professional for 13 years. Since I was 16 years old, I started from the bottom and went all the way to the top, calling out the best of the best. past. I did it the hard way. Nothing was ever given to me.
What about that WBC title at light heavyweight?
I did it the hard way, so now that I'm here, I think I deserve to fight on this card, on this date, and I'm gonna keep giving the fans what they want to see these dates. Alvarez, 35, has boxed on Cinco de Mayo and Mexican Independence Day weekends in Las Vegas 13 times since May of 2012. The Mexican superstar attended the Benavidez vs. Zurdo fight as fan support to Jaime Munguia, who is guided by Alvarez's career-long trainer and manager, Eddie Reynoso. Benavidez, 29, called for Alvarez to face him yet again.
Even though he's a fucking cruiserweight now.
That taunting notwithstanding, the WBC light heavyweight champion who was raised in Phoenix and resides in Miami has all but accepted that he'll never get the opportunity to battle the sport's biggest star.
Why does he keep calling him out?
It's a promotional tool to try and siphon fans away from Canelo over to himself to no avail because they didn't announce the attendance for the Zurdo fight, and we've yet to see any semblance of pay-per-view numbers as well.
No big gate receipts.
Where we should know by now, if they had something to brag about, they would be bragging about it because the Inoue versus Nakatani fight that happened that same weekend has already produced numbers over 1 million pay-per-views sold and 32 million estimated at the gate.
Toppling Canelo versus Golovkin as the 4th highest gate in boxing history. Inoue just did that. Now, how do we have his numbers from halfway around the world, but we still don't have David's?
Because David's numbers ain't nothing to write home about, contrary to the opinions of a few, those content creators claiming that he is now the face of boxing.
Not if there are other fighters out there putting up bigger numbers than you are. Not if they're putting up bigger gate receipts, more pay-per-view buys.
Earning more than David Benavidez? I mean, Usyk earns more than David Benavidez, Fury, Anthony Joshua, Naoya Inoue, Canelo.
They all earn more per fight than David Benavidez. So when has it ever been the case that the face of boxing is not only outsold by several fighters, but several fighters make more than he does? If you're the face of boxing,
It's not supposed to be going on.
David said, I think a fight with Bivol would be better in the United States only because I sell more than him in the US than Bivol sells over there, Benavidez said. You know the whole house was packed tonight.
No, it wasn't.
That's something that I worked really, really hard to do. It's not easy to pack out the T-Mobile Arena, and we did that not only once, we did it twice. We did it once with David Morrell, then again tonight. So, I mean, I got the ball in my hands. I'm the one that's filling out the stadiums, the one that's fighting on pay-per-view.
Yeah, but what are you actually selling on pay-per-view?
Jai Opetaia has never fought pay-per-view, never filled out an arena like this. His last fight was in the Zuffa boxing place, the Meta Apex. And I'm not even trying to be disrespectful, it's just that those are the facts. So I mean, if they want me to go over there to Saudi, why?
You already went out there to fight Anthony Yard, remember? They've got to pay me some good money to make it over there, or they could come here. We could come to the table right here, but I don't know. I've worked really hard, and everything I've got now, I deserve. And I worked hard for it. So, you know, if they want to come to the table over here, we could do it. Let's get it.
The face of boxing, the A side essentially, needs the B side to be the ones that make the offer. Why aren't you guys the ones making the offer if you're such a big draw here?
He doesn't seem to want to go back to Saudi. Not for Jai, which is fine. But then isn't the onus on you to make the offer, since you're the one boxing on pay-per-view, filling out arenas in Vegas?
I am not optimistic that David Benavidez will box again this calendar year. Not if Ryan Garcia and Canelo jointly are fighting on the same day.
David's just talking because he's got a mouth.